unscrupulous.
Andrew Telfer is described as a scrawny 70-year-old, writing a note at his desk in one corner of a big, book-lined room. So wealthy, how his fortune was made was never shared. He was able to afford to marry Lyanna Telfer and bought her $1 million price book on a whim. He's into collecting books. He'd sooner die before selling a single one. That's why he took a step up before he stepped out from the cold, cruel world, leaving a single slipper behind. Dean Corso is a tall, lean, rather unkempt man in his 30s. Steel-rimmed glasses, crumpled old tweed jacket, worn cords, scuffed brown Oxfords. He could almost be a shabby university teacher if it weren't for the streetwise glint in his eye. Corso doesn't collect, but acquires. He evaluates collections and generously overappraises them if it suits his desires. Corso is a lover, a runner, and a fighter if he is pushed hard enough. All it takes is a right hook or a big fat check. The old man sits with his back to the room. His expression is impassive and self-absorbed. His twisted mouth suggests he's a stroke victim. The son is a middle-aged man with a puffy red face, cuddling a large scotch on the rocks like it's an integral part of his anatomy. He shows compassion for his drink and the fortune in his father's books. The daughter-in-law looks on, one hand cupping her elbow, the fingers of the other playing avidly with her lower lip. Witkin is a bespectacled briefcase-carrying man in a three-piece suit and bow tie, a cross between an intellectual and a business executive. Witkin is Corso's competitor and serves the purpose for the audience that Corso is thoroughly unscrupulous. Planting the idea in the son and daughter, Witkin won't be purchasing the collection at their manipulated prices. He won't make his margin, and the family won't get the cash. Only Corso walks away with the prize at a discount. Bernie is a man around Corso's age with dark curly hair receding at the temples, is perched at the top of a spiral staircase. Bernie is Corso's cohort and co-conspirator even though he denies it. He dreams about family, children, and making 20%. He should have dreamt about staying alive. The beggars outside the Balkan Tower berate Corso. Are they symbols of life common in a big city, or something more nefarious? Ground-level surrogates of Balkan's empire, perhaps. The security guard is the first, perhaps only Balkan employee we see. Boris Balkan is a bulky, imposing figure of a man around 50 years old. His thick gray hair is slicked back to reveal a domed forehead. The eyes beneath it radiate keen intelligence through a pair of heavy horn rims. He speaks in a deep, slow, almost monotonous voice, but with great authority. He is Corso's benefactor and a collector of rare books. They all have something in common, his protagonist. The girl is in jeans and white sneakers, childlike face, short hair and green, feline eyes. She is Corso's guardian, corrector of fates, a promoter of a certain destiny. Lyanna is a very sexy 30-ish with milky skin and a figure whose generous curves are far from concealed by her ultra-chic black costume. She is the widow Telfer, leads a coven of rich and bored millionaires. Her likes include world travel and renovating chateaus, but dislikes bad jokes and party crashers. A man with a mustache and a scarred face is leaning against a limo parked outside the house, smoking a small cigar. The mustached man is Lyanna's bodyguard, chauffeur, and perhaps has other uses, some of them supernatural. He only does what Lyanna tells him to do. Known as Bruno, he thought he could be on top of the international circuit. Instead, he got the shoe. Lyanna also has the gardener. So insignificant, he practices Japanese gardening techniques on driveways. The cab driver in the red turban drives Corso from his apartment to Bernie's bookstore to a phone booth before dropping him off at the airport. The cab driver enjoys a decorated ride, is always polite, carrying a smile a cat would have before swallowing a bird in its mouth. The cab driver in the red turban is also the last person to see Corso at Bernie's murder site before Corso fled the country. His favorite catchphrase is, "No problem, sir." Balkan's secretary is only heard and not seen, but she's able to connect a phone call between Balkan and Corso on short notice while her boss is in transit. The shadows appear momentarily. They are more like pieces on a chessboard. The boy runs out from a corner chasing after his mother's cries. It's a game he plays at many times. Pedro Ceniza is a gaunt, bent-backed old man with a pair of sunglasses perched on the end of his big nose. Looks up from an old hand press. Everything about him is as gray as the cigarette ash that rains down on his clothes and the books he's working on. He's a chain smoker. Pedro Ceniza is his twin. The Ceniza brothers run their book restoration shop and are credited for selling the Telfers their copy of the book. One enjoys smoking, the other does not, but both are very good at telling stories, as they are at counterfeiting pieces of literature. They take advantage of any opportunity too good to pass up. Victor Fargas is as tall and emaciated as an El Greco saint. He has a drooping white mustache. His baggy trousers and oversized woolen sweater contrast with a pair of old but immaculately polished shoes. His appearance perfectly matches his melancholy surroundings. Doing pretty well living as a destitute mansion dweller, Fargas wouldn't sell his book at any price. He enjoys the violin, a fine brandy, and fish ponds. The hotel porter calls Corso away from his conversation with the girl. The little girl at French immigration stares at Corso with great suspicion. Gruber is a short, squat reincarnation of Erich von Stroheim. He wears his uniform like a Prussian grenadier. He is part concierge, part private investigator, and can pull off any job if the tip is big enough. At the Kessler Foundation, Corso is greeted by a secretary on the first floor. For most visitors, she directs them to the elevator, but for Corso, she shows him the stairs. On the second floor, Corso is greeted by Kessler's chief of staff. The script described her as a middle-aged woman with horn rims and straight back hair. She looks up at Corso with an inquisitional air. What the script got right was her disdain for sloppily dressed visitors who would look like they would rather burn down the place. On the bright side, she enjoys fresh fruits and gives Corso 30 minutes to change the world. The Baroness Kessler was an elegant little white-haired old lady with a Hermes scarf draped around her shoulders. Turns her electric wheelchair to face him. She speaks with a pronounced German accent. The Baroness saw her past written in the shadows of the devil. She seems to know too much about everyone, but not enough about her own immediate future. The junior desk clerk, a spotty youth, is dozing on a chair behind the reception desk. Corso goes over and reps on the desk. The junior desk clerk springs to his feet like a jack-in-a-box. The clerk is also unfamiliar with common hotel security practices. The Lamborghini guy and his date provide Corso and the girl transportation needed to follow Lyanna's Mercedes. Clearly visible in the glare of the Lamborghini's headlights, an arm emerges from the truck's cab window and gives a prolonged one-fingered salute. A flour-smeared baker is deftly preparing a tray of croissants for the oven. He points in the direction of Lyanna St. Martin Telfer's chateau. In a quiet French pub, Corso enjoys wine and croissants. The pub owners help him with clean laundry and finding the Devil's Tower. Two young men play foosball in the background. Corso gets a ride from two unseen truck drivers. Back in Toledo, Spain, Corso revisits the Ceniza brothers' shop, where two workmen who look strangely alike take apart the Ceniza brothers' store. It appears the brothers have been gone a very long time. Like, share, or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. This is Mr. G of Synergy saying, the library is a perfect place to pick up books, but not your date. Check out other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.